Good morning, fellow guitar players and friends and family. I'm up in my little jazz room, and I've been listening to YouTube, and there's this guitarist talking about Guitar Boogie Shuffle there, and Jimmy Bruno. He's ranting away, and I'm kind of enjoying his ranting from South Philly there, where a lot of the tunes came from my time. It's the doo-wop period. And I was doing a lot of little basement parties at that time. And we had some that tune was called Mashed Potato. So a lot of our tunes were based on rhythm. So my ears were open to rhythm, not words, not just the beat. Give me the beat. Give me the sound, you know. It was exciting for me. I'd be playing with a guy and he'd say, yeah, I'm on that. I'm yakety sax. He did the saxophone work. Going around and meeting these guys, it was pretty cool. And playing in their homes, it was, just regular guys, just regular people. And some of them came to my house, and mom and dad and good Italian parents give them a little something to eat. And I was still a teenager, so not really that advanced what I was doing here. But going back to Jimmy, well, Jim's dad, he said he wanted to. I had to do a little research on it with the Guitar Boogie Shuffle, the virtues. A lot of controversial stuff went on back then, lawsuits and so forth, and copyrights and things like that. And that's one of the tunes that had a lot of copyright problems. And I was amazed because my song, the same thing happened with Strobe Lights. I did Strobe Lights. I wrote that tune, and everybody said, Joe, you're on the radio. You're on the radio. You're on the road with Strobe Lights. Strobe Lights. All the locals and everybody knew I was working on that tune. And before you know it, it was another group, everybody was doing Strobe Lights, and that's just what they did back then. They took your work, and you can copyright a concept, and you can't do this. And that's one of the reasons I said, let me go into fashion. One of the reasons. strobe lights. Then down in the basements again, you had to have the slow doo-wop. So, yeah, I like to chat all about this stuff and have my coffee with my cousins and my friends and my guitar players. And what I get excited about today is jazz. And what excites me most is when some of these young kids from other countries take our tunes and they change it slightly, but because they can't pronounce the words perfectly, I love it. I love the sound that comes out when they're singing our tunes and not pronouncing the word exactly right. It sounds to me that's jazz, and they're taking it home to its roots, and I absolutely love it. Good morning, folks. And let me see, what else can I do with this thing here? I used to like this one here. Johnny Smith. As those checks started coming into Johnny because of the ventures, uh, he was quite happy with that, and he went back home west. He was a studio musician, a jazz musician here in New York, and Johnny Smith was my idol. When I heard that album of his, Moonlight in Vermont, that's what I wanted to do. And guys said, "Oh, wow, this rock guy, he can really play." And I'm listening to these guys, and they were doing like that. But yet, that was it. And they had the amps and the loudness, and they would three-note wonders. But when Johnny played, I would count the runs, and he would be moving. And it would go on and on and on. How is he doing that? How is he doing it? Another great guitarist with a different style, totally different, that I was like, nah, he's not doing that, was Chet Atkins. And I was thinking there was a lot of overdubbing back then. And don't forget, when I was a teenager, we didn't have YouTube and we didn't have the internet, and we couldn't chat back and forth and find out what was going on. So one time I went into New York City to Statler Hilton Hotel there as a young guitarist, and there was George Van Epps demonstrating a 7-string guitar. Well, I was like sitting up in the front row looking at this guy and going, wow, how does he do that? What does he get? How is he getting those sounds? And that was an inspiration to me, because I've never heard someone playing a guitar like that before, and he was absolutely great. The sad part of that for me was I never was able to find a record that gave the sound of George Van Epps that I heard at the Statler that time. So the recordings were not as great as they are today. If some of these guys were around today, it would be amazing. Okay, there we go. My computer is saying, okay, that's all for now. So I'll just talk to you again, guys.